Now let's talk about the typefaces and the fonts you use in your design. They have a very important role. They play a very important role in your designs. Now, a lot of designers, I think they don't understand that each typeface has its own voice, or you can say its own tone or own theme or personality. So if you are trying to use some typeface, try to match it with the theme and personality of your design. So if you are designing for kids, the fonts you are going to use, they are going to match that theme. So let's see what more is there in the typefaces. Now the first tip I give to the novices or all the designers is start with one or maximum two typefaces. Don't try to use 3 or 4 typefaces and try to mix them. So one typeface, try to select a one typeface which have a lot of different styles like Open Sans or Roboto. Roboto have like maybe 30, 40. It is a very big family and you can combine different styles and create a nice design. Similarly, try to use 2 different typefaces to get contrast. Now you can see in my design here, you can see I have used very thick font face which is for the heading, and another one which is very sleek, very slim and very tall. So you can see it is they are getting some contrast between them. Similarly, whenever you try to use some typefaces, they must have some contrast. So there is a whole course from me on this typeface or typography. Now the second tip I give to my designers is that try to use just one font face family or try to use just 2 typefaces. So don't try to mix like 3 or 4 because they are difficult to handle and control. So one typeface, for example, if you are using Roboto or any other similar typeface, you can see it has a lot of different styles. So if you look at Roboto, there is Roboto, Roboto condensed, and Roboto, I think some code style typeface. So there are like 30 or 40 different fonts and styles in Roboto typeface. Second tip is that try to use 2 different typefaces to get some contrast. So contrast can be used in a lot of different ways, like thick and thin, and a lot. There is another lecture in the next lesson about next section about the contrast. So we are going to talk about about the contrast. So you can mix sans serif and serif fonts, the fonts which have some dashed lines on the corners or at the bottom of them. So this is how you are going to start using some typefaces. One major thing is that each font style has its own purpose. So if you are using one typeface for headings, you are going to use that same size and that same font for all the headings in your design. So if you are using one font for body text or the text, running text in your design, the small text, you are going to use the same typeface for all the body text all over in your design. So this is a very major tip. Try to fix your fonts and try to give them purpose, that this is for heading, this is for body text, this is for buttons. Okay, so where the magic is going to happen in your typefaces, the magic is hidden in the scale. Scale is basically size or the contrast, how much the contrast is there. So scale is that, for example, I have very small font for my text, and then I have very large font for big font for my heading. So they are going to have a lot of contrast, and it is going to create a lot of interest. So like you can see over here in these slides, what I am trying to do is I am using a very thin font with a very thick font, which is bold or black font. So you can see these are different styles I have shown. I think this is Roboto font, thin, normal, medium, bold and black. So try to use as much contrast as you can. For example, thin and black, they are going to have a lot of contrast. Similarly, you can use the contrast by making it a very big heading for like this one. You can see in all my these slides, I'm using very thick, very big, very bright color for this heading, and very thin and small font for my text over here. So this is how you are going to use. The magic is actually hidden in the scale. scale mean how you are making the one text very bigger and one very smaller, one very bolder and thick and one very thin. So this is how you are going to do that. These days we are designing a lot for mobile apps, mobile screens and smaller screens, and there are a lot of different number of screens, different sizes of screens, retina, non-retina, small sizes, and then medium sizes devices, then large size device like desktop, very big TVs and something like that. So keep that in mind that each typeface is not going to work on smaller screens. On smaller screens, there are different typefaces that are designed to work for smaller screens and handheld devices, and you can see that they are going to work better on those screens. So before you purchase any font or use any font, there is always information on that website, or try to test that font on your mobile screen and try to see that 14 pixels or 16 pixels or 18 pixel font size does it look readable, does it look legible, can you recognize different letters. So this is how you are going to select your typefaces. So there are many factors in selecting typefaces, but this is one of them. Now, why do you think that Roboto is used by Android and San Francisco is used by Apple devices? This is the same reason. They have developed their own typefaces that look great on their devices and that are readable, legible, and that is why the default system font for Android is Roboto and Apple devices use San Francisco. Now in the next lesson, we are going to see some of the examples that how the selection of typefaces is going to enhance and create awesome looking designs. So let's see some of the examples.